Hi, everybody, and welcome to the new interview of the week for the Let's Connect talk show. And the purpose, if you see us for the first time, the purpose of this show, it's actually to network. I used to organize networking events. People used to call me the connection queen. And what I like the most is to connect people with each other. So, but just only instead of just telling them, how great they are. So now I invite them once a week. I invite a guest, an expert, and so they can tell them what they do, how they do it, and how they help other entrepreneurs. And today I'm very glad to receive my longtime friend, Orly Amor. We met a long time ago in Miami. Hi, Orly.
Hi, thank you for having me, Biba.
You're welcome. So, Orly, we met like 13 years ago when I moved to Miami, and then you moved to New York. So we lost each other. And suddenly I saw you face on Facebook again. You disappear from Facebook. We never know what Facebook is doing. And then like about 3 months ago, I saw you again and said, oh, it's very long time that I didn't spoke to Orly. And you were doing a challenge. And I said, well, let's do the challenge with Orly. That will be a great way to reconnect. And since then, actually, I took your program. So yes. Instead of me in telling people what you do, you know best what you do. So can you introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, what you do, and what's the benefits for people.
Well, thank you again for having me. My name is Orly Amor, and I am a business coach for public speakers. So I do not teach them how to speak and how to perform on stage. I do teach them, however, how to make money in this business. And I am the only one in the world that puts in writing that they are going to have a guarantee of making 150K their first year in public speaking. Basically, the guarantee is that I will work with them until they make the money. And that's a pretty bold statement. And a lot of people say, well, oh my goodness, you're making a very bold guarantee. Well, because what the system that I've created works. And that's why this is what I do. Yes.
And what I noticed when you did the challenge, I was very surprised because, well, before I see you again pop up on Facebook, I was ready to go back and do public speaking in the US market, since I used to do it long time ago, but I was ready to do it again, since in between I was doing it mainly in the French market. And I said, well, right now I'm not in Miami, I'm in France. I can't go home. They closed the border. So what do I do to do public speaking? And anyway, nobody is doing speaking on stage. And I was very surprised when you mentioned that there is, if I remember well, 64,000
events. 64,000 events a day in America alone. We're talking Canada and the United States. We're not even talking about the world.
So I was really surprised because I know that with the COVID, a lot of people went online, but I was not expecting to see as many events online. Like we know that the summit, we do summit. I did my first summit in 2011. So we know the summit are online, but they usually have like big conference, like conferences for women or conference on a very specific topic. And I was surprised because you even mentioned that 78% of all those events now are online. So now everybody's on virtual, but a lot of people who speak or want to speak, they don't even know that, because I was surprised. I was waiting. I said, okay, I will wait until they open the border. I will be able to go home in Miami. Then I will be able to search for public speaking. But there's other way. And I thought it was very interesting because we can continue to do our business the way we are. And I know that even being in France, I have a lot of people who, starting in March when we were confined the first time, they say, oh, all of my business is on stage, or all of my business is doing events with the people in front of me. What do I do? So now you help people to really, even if you were doing that before, you really help people to turn their business in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of people have this misconception since COVID that that's it. That's gloom and doom. The industry went away and we all shut down. And that was the biggest mistake anyone made. I know that we did not know this was coming. I understand that very well. And it's not to take away from this industry, but a lot of people, and, as entrepreneurs, and Biba, this most of all, is that entrepreneurs, we are creators, we are creative, and we learn to pivot no matter what. So whatever life throws at us, we learn to pivot. So this industry is no different. It's just a learning curve that taught us to pivot. And many things have went not only because it went online, but there was if you will, a regrouping month. March was a regrouping month. All the events that, and I'm going to talk about America for now, but I'm imagining that it was the same for anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we would separate all these events into three, and that would explain to everyone what exactly really went on. And that's why people not knowing what goes on and just panicking, it doesn't help any business, right? And just working from panic doesn't help any business either. But in the industry of public speaking, if we separated all these amazing events into three, this is what happened. Yes, month of March to September of 2020, let's take all these events and separate it into three groups. The first group, yes, everybody canceled. They didn't know what they had to do because they were not equipped. They did not know if they're going to postpone it, if they're going to, and if they do postpone it, to when, where, how they're going to do this, right? And so those people canceled with the contingency that they're going to regroup and find out what they're going to do, and they will come back. So it's not like they're canceled and that's it, it's over, life is over. No, they have to redo their thinking. The second group, they were equipped with going virtual. They just flipped the switch and they were virtual. They sent an email to all the attendees, sent an email to all the speakers, and they said, okay, here we go. We're live. We're going to be virtual. And I was a part of those events. So I was hired already. I was paid already. So they did not take that away from me. They just said, okay, do you mind? We're doing it virtual. I'm like, no, not at all. Let's do it. Why not? They have the capacity already to host. Yeah. So why not? Done.
Yeah, that's actually what I did in March in France. We were confined on the 17th, and I had a whole day event in Paris on the 19th. So, I didn't even think of, I will cancel. I send an email to everybody. I say, let's do it online and let's do it on Zoom. And that's the same thing. You will learn exactly the same thing.
Exactly. And the third group, they knew that they're just going to postpone. So they called the venue and they did all the arrangements, but with the contingency that if we're still stuck in this environment, that we'll go virtual. So they'll be ready then to be virtual. But they had a different problem on their hands. They had speakers canceling on them. So how good for us? My clients, my phone was blowing up during the month of March. Oh my God, what do I do? And Biba, you just learned the process. But so everybody was calling about, well, should I still do the process? And I said, yes. Why would you stop the process? Nothing is gone bad. It's just going to happen whenever they're ready. They'll call you. Just go through the process. And all of a sudden they were getting hired virtually and paid virtually. And they were all surprised. And I'm like, why are you surprised? I just told you to continue doing what you're doing. There is no surprise. That's the industry. The worst part in that you learned in the challenge, and I would think that would be the most important part, is that 48% of speakers don't even respond to event planners. And yet they complain that there's no work. That's not true. Makes sense?
And you wrote a book about it.
Yes, I did.
What's the title of the book?
The book is called Public Speakers, You're Not All That, 12 Reasons Why Event Planners Won't Hire You. I interviewed over 3,400 event planners that pay speakers for this book. And it's amazing what I learned. Amazing. Yeah. Not that I didn't know that before, because I operate from a very high integrity level. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking, well, if you're a professional business owner, how can you not do certain things? How can you not have certain things in place? I always say there's I used to say that there's 3 things we can't teach speakers. We can't teach them charisma, personality, and authenticity. Yeah. And this year I added integrity. Because now it's 4 things that you can't teach speakers because that's one thing they need to know how to operate from.
And it's also very interesting, when you say that, the organizer, they put the events virtual, but then the speakers consult, because you have a lot of speakers who are very good on stage, but they get lost as soon as you tell them to go on Zoom or whatever they use as a streaming.
Very true.
It's just,
Very true. One of my clients got hired because of that. An event planner had 2 cancellations from people who didn't want to do it virtually, who were afraid to do it virtually. Well, we host speaker training boot camps virtually to help speakers learn how to do this virtually. That's another good talent, because you got to learn how to do this. How do you convey a message with emotion from somebody that's not even in front of you? I'm talking to you right now, and you feel like I am talking straight at you. This is because I am trained to speak directly into that iris, and it's a little hole, in your computer, and it's kind of very uncomfortable, and I know it is, but I want people to think about it, and I'll give you guys a tip, because it's a really good tip if you think about it. Think about the anchors on TV. When they are speaking on TV, they're actually in front of a camera, and there's a guy behind the camera. They can't even see the guy. The lights that are on them are so strong. They only see a red dot, and that's where they have to just focus their vision, right? Their look, and they can convey to us the news, bad news, good news, with emotion, with all the information, and we need to just take it, right? I mean, we understand that, and we feel like they're talking just right at us. Yeah. And so you can convey a message through Zoom. And so that's just a talent, and it takes that uncomfortable, for a little while, and just keep at it. You can see in your peripheral, you can see the people on the screen. You can see, but you don't have to look down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So why do you think, you mentioned before that the numbers of people want to speak but never reply to the events planner?
Because they're not ready. One of the things, the number one thing that is in my book of what event planners are saying, is that speakers don't have their stuff together. What I create for you in my program, Biba, it's exactly what we're talking about, as people don't have it. And some people say, well, I have my speaker sheet, or I have my bio, or but they don't have it in the way that the event planner would like to see it. So they have their whole pedigree, and it looks great and everything, but it's not what they want to see in a blink of an eye. So they know they don't have it together. It takes them 2, 3, 4 weeks. By the time they get it done, the event planner has already gone to the next person, or has been looking. And event planners hate hiring speakers. Hate it with a passion. I'm sorry to use that word. Actually, I don't like that word. It's a very strong word, but they really hate it. Why? Because they have to go through that rigmarole with so many by the time they find one. That's why you see so many speakers that keep on repeating. They're the same speakers at the same events, because it's like they hire the devil they know instead of the devil they don't know. If you had your stuff together, you wouldn't have any trouble.
So what would you say for somebody who even didn't start speaking yet and would like to start to say, okay, 2021, I heard that I can do it online. I don't even have to travel if I don't want. Even when the pandemic will stop, then I can stay home. Probably, the conference will go back, I hope, one day on stage. But I guess there is still, like, the summit online. There's always events that will be online. So what would you suggest to somebody ready to start speaking and speaking also virtually? What should they do? What the first few two, three things?
Yeah, the first two things that you said that are very important to understand right now is that virtual speaking is not going away ever again. It's here to stay. Everybody needs to embrace that. It's here to stay. Second thing that you said is, are events going to come back live? Yes, but they will be smaller before they get bigger again, because of the fear that is in people, not because the events are not there. People will not come out so quickly. They will come, but events will become smaller before they become bigger again. And the third thing, you asked me to give a few tips to somebody who wants to start but doesn't know how. I will tell you this. if you have a message, this is my tagline. If you have a message, somebody's willing to pay for it. Now, whether you're good, bad, indifferent, seasoned, professional, part-time, full-time, it does not matter. Everybody this year started from scratch. Not everybody became a pro at speaking virtually this year. I'm going to say it again because there's people who have been speaking for 20 years plus who actually, excuse the language, suck at speaking virtually. But it's okay. They're still getting paid. Why? Because of their message, because of their knowledge. So if you have good knowledge, don't worry about how you deliver it right now. Just go out there, because that's the goal. The goal is to get out there. Nobody knows who you are. Stop working on how your website looks. Nobody knows who you are. Who's going to visit your website? Whenever you start getting paid, then you'll work on your website. Then you'll work on your next book. If you have a book, great. If you don't have a book, great. Don't worry about those little things that people are trying to push on you. And I'm talking about, there's many gurus out there. Everybody is a great coach. But again, they're teaching you things that are 10 years old. This used to be a very good thing. 10 years ago, yes, have a book, have a website, have everything. That's great. Everybody was spending money for no reason whatsoever. But now, if you have it already, great. If you don't have it, also great. So stop thinking about all the things you're going to need to be perfect, and just start connecting with event planners and get speaking gigs. That's what I would suggest. And don't worry about if you're good or bad, or you started yesterday. Nobody knows that but you.
Yeah, I have also a lot of people who come to me like for the coaching, and they have the feeling that they need a book for the credibility. They say, I do the book first, and then they spend like 3-6 months, a year to create a book. And then I say, and then I will start selling. And I say, but why? You're not good enough to sell today? So if nobody knows you anyway, in 1 year, nobody will buy your book. So why do you think people need those things in order to feel credible?
Well, because that's what's been taught to everyone in the industry for the past 10 years. Before COVID, forget COVID. After COVID, it's even less important. Before COVID, it was something that everybody made super important for 10 years, which is very old school, by the way. And just for everyone's if you will, peace of mind, a book is just a glorified business card. So it's great. Yes, it brings you credibility, but it's a short-term credibility. If you're not going to spend $10,000 on marketing that book, then don't go doing the book. There's no need. That you're not going to sell it at the quantity that, Michelle Obama did. You know what I'm saying? You're not a celebrity. And at the celebrity status, you get picked up by a traditional publisher, and then that's a different story. Then they give you a check and you'll never see money again. That's very different. I have a publishing house. We even guarantee international bestseller, but in real lifetime, that means 3 to 6 countries, people actually buy your book. It's not a trick like on Amazon. Everybody can be a bestseller on Amazon. So everybody needs to stop thinking, oh, well, I became a bestseller, because there's a trick to the trade, and Amazon is catching on. So not everybody's going to become a bestseller Amazon so quickly anymore. Everybody has been harping on this and wasting so much time and energy. I mean, yes, you want to leave a legacy, make a book. Absolutely, do a book. If you have one, great. But don't make it your priority. Don't make it your number one thing. You want to make money right away? There's 2 things you need to do immediately: speaking and coaching or consulting. Those are the low-hanging fruits in this industry right now, and you can make money immediately.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't think that they create the book, and they think that the biggest work is to write the book. The biggest work is to promote the book, because you need to create a business around the book. If you just have the book, like whether you sell a book at $15, $20 or euro, doesn't matter. Well, that's definitely not how you make money. So if you don't know what to sell after the book, and most people, they just don't know. They just don't know how to create the business and the marketing around the book. So in that case, they have the feeling that the book will help them to put a foot in the door. And then, okay, I can speak because I have a book, but then if you can get paid, as you teach, you know how to get paid. But then the people who don't get paid, who go to events, if you don't know how to sell your services, and if you don't have any services, why did you speak for? If you don't get any clients out of it,
Right.
you have nothing else than the book. That's, you can even sell like 100 books, you won't make that much money, and you're not in a
Exactly.
corner. So
Exactly.
I was interesting because the reason why I took your program, because I thought it was interesting also. I already had a coach in French, a speaking coach, and I know a lot of people who speak you, who teach you, coach you on how to become a speaker, what to say, the structure, blah, 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 the emotion and all that kind of thing. But I never heard that there's somebody who can coach you to learn how to approach event planner to make sure that you get higher at the price that you deserve. So how did you get the idea of doing that?
I didn't. That's the funny part. That's it actually fell into my lap. See, I've been speaking for 24 years full time, actually almost 25 years. Oh my goodness, right? Well, I started in a certain trade in property management, and I was speaking all over the country and in Canada. And then I started speaking on different topics all over the world, 26 countries, 18 states. So all I did was speak and get paid. And I learned that on my own blood, sweat, and tears. Believe me, hours on end, and very excruciating hours. I can tell you that. I was living in Florida. I had a pool. I had my dogs. It was beautiful weather, and I had to sit at my desk, work 12 to 16 hours contacting event planners. Believe me, it was excruciating. I'm sorry. And one day after coming back from Europe, I went to an event in Arlington, Texas, where I was speaking. And so they have this break room for speakers where I was standing, and three guys came over to me, obviously speakers. And one of them said, "Aren't you Orly Amor?" And I said, "Yeah, do I know you? Sorry, don't remember." So he said, "No, we've never met before, but we've seen you on the circuit." And in my head, I was saying, well, I don't wonder what circuit, because I'm usually a corporate speaker. So, okay, I probably spoke at a couple of conferences. All right. So we started just networking, right, Biba? That's the best way to get involved with people. And at one point, one of them says, "Well, I'm just curious, how did you get this gig?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I called, I told them what I speak about. They paid me, and I'm here." They all looked at me like if I had three heads. "You got paid?" And I'm like, "Oh God, no. You guys didn't?" They said, "No, we got our expenses paid, but we didn't get paid." I said, "Oh no, I got paid and I got my expenses paid." Like if it was normal.
Yeah.
It was the first time in my life that I heard that people don't get paid to speak. I've always been paid, so it was weird, right?
Because you
But
asked also.
what?
Because you asked to get paid.
Because that was my business model. Like, like before you and I met, you said your business model was speak to sell. So that's a business model in the speaking world, but it's not meant for everyone. I know that I can't do it. I had to learn that skill set, and with time I'm able to do a speak to sell, but I am not made for speak to sell. I love my fee first. So everybody is different, and some people are not made for it, and until they grow that skill set, maybe they should get paid first. And then so when I left that conference, I was weirded out. I said, maybe there's a problem, and I was thinking, well, if there's a problem, maybe I should create something for this, because I've always been paid. And so I created something called Business in a Box for Public Speakers. And I never really wanted to coach. This is another thing. I never wanted to coach. And you have a plan and God laughs. I always tell that to people, right? Anyway, so that's how it started. I went back to these guys, they hired me, they made the money, and I said, maybe I'm onto something. And then I called my friends who are speakers, and they're like, "Oh my God, Orly, that's like the holy grail. We'll hire you." And I'm like, "You'll hire me? Who are you? And what have you done with my friends?" It's like, so it started to be a real joke in my community. And so that's where it started. That's how it started.
Yeah, it's very interesting because before I heard about your program, I saw that in order to get paid, especially because in France is a little different, but unless you go speak to a corporation, but which I don't for the moment. But the only way that I heard was to call speakers bureau. You contact the speakers bureau, but then I asked two different people and said, well, the speakers bureau, they don't send us that many people. So if you still want to speak, you have to do the promotion. It's the same as the book. You can write the book, but then you still have to do the promotion. If you're a speaker, there's no easy things you have to work. And then your program show that it's a lot of work, but we have to meant to be able to do it. Otherwise, it won't work. It's just that we can't get something just like that.
And to your point, speaker bureaus, people have to understand what is a speaker bureau. People think that speaker bureaus are like agents for speakers. They are not. What they are is an agent for the client who wants speakers. So what they're making money on is on your membership, if you have any, or if they book you, they take a very large portion of your speaking. But not only that, they will not book you if you're not a $10,000, $20,000 speaker minimum, because they can't take a big chunk of it if you're not. So if you're a $5,000 speaker, they're not going to make money on you. They're not going to book you. There you go. But another point to your point is that it's not about, working hard at this. I told you, and I tell all my clients, if you don't have 1 hour to give me a day, 1 hour for this business, then do not hire me. Do not come into the program, because you're not going to make it. You have to be consistent in this business. That's why I worked very hard to make it into 1 hour, what I used to do in 16 hours a day. You need to do 1 hour. If you cannot do it, don't even start. It's not worth it.
And that's the good thing with your program, is that we learn on how to do it. Even there's like things that I used to do in the past that I'm not doing anymore. And then I said, okay, oh yes, she said it. I have to do it again. I used to do it. I have to go back to that. Because then at some point, we do things in marketing, and then at some point we have a routine, and there's stuff that's worked very well. And then we forgot that there's other stuff that we can add, not it's not one or the other, but I say, okay, I have to do this again. And actually the fact that I restarted doing the networking on LinkedIn and the virtual coffee. I remember like 15 years ago, I used to network on LinkedIn every day. I spent an hour every day to connect with people and invite people to virtual coffee. And then when I did it recently, I did it again, because in the French market, people don't really do it. But then I said, oh, they're still using the virtual coffee. They still say that like 15 years later. So let's do virtual coffee with people. And now, I started about 2 months ago, and I speak with at least 2 people a day. And that's really how, and things move very quickly, whether you want to speak, whether you want clients, whether you want referrals, that kind of thing. But that's also a great way in order to get the people that you want to do the public speaking. And definitely that's also the reason why I'm doing the video, also to connect people with each other. But I know that it will help my visibility, it will help my credibility, it will help me to get all the speaking gigs. So that's the thing. So if people want to learn more about you and how to get speaking gigs and get paid for that, where they should find you, where they should go.
Well, they can definitely go to orlyamor.com. And if they want to learn more about the masterclass, it's masterclass.orlyamor.com. And if they would like to just get on my calendar, go to orlyamor.com and book a 20-minute session with me. It's completely free. And just to pick my brain, whatever it is that they like, to see where they're at in their business. It's a wonderful way to connect and to get to know each other. And like you said, you just met another friend. It's okay, no strings attached. I am not a transactional person. That means that I just want to know who you are, what you're about. My goal is to impact the lives of 200 million people by 2025. So that's why I do what I do.
Perfect. So, and I won't be able to say that with all the people that I interview, but in that case, not only that I knew you before, but then I took your program, so I can contest, and we will do the testimonial also at some point with the program. But I definitely recommend the program, and it's what I like, it's very specific. I don't like the training when we have to wait, when we have, for you the same as me, it's that way. If we don't do it, we get a kick in the butt. And I like that too, because I like to give kick in the butt to my clients too. So that's what I like, because that's how we move. And success is the success comes with the rapidity. Sometimes I forgot the word in English. The speed of the implementation.
Right.
So with you, we have this immediately. And as you said at the beginning, you're there for us, and you over deliver and definitely over
Thank
deliver,
you.
and you give us so much. So thank you very much, Orly, and I hope that this will help a lot of people, because a lot of people lost their business because they didn't know what to do. I remember in March, on the first time we were confined, it took me like a week to decide, what do I do with my business? How do I do it? I can't do events anymore. So it took like a week, but there's so many people, whether it's in France, Canada, or in US and anywhere, they didn't know how to adapt the business. And that's very important. So if you want to speak, if you're ready to speak, if you want to speak even virtually, you don't even have to travel. Well, go to see, contact Orly, and you will see that will definitely change your life.
Thank you.
And for everybody who's looking at us right now, so I'm doing this interview once a week to help you to network with other people, but also because I like to share resources with other people, because I meet very nice and interesting people. When I network with them, you may not have the same opportunity, maybe because you don't prospect enough, maybe you don't talk with enough people. But I thought that it was not enough for me to say, oh, when I talk to somebody, well, I met this person, it's interesting, you should contact her. I wanted to do more. So that's the reason why every week I interview an expert. But the purpose is to network, but also it's definitely to help you to grow your business, because that's also what I do as a business and a mindset speaker. You see, I say speaker. This is a mindful business strategist speaker. I'm a business and mindset coach, and the way that I help my people and my clients is actually to help them with different kind of strategy, and as a result they can double or triple their revenue in 90 days. So that's definitely what I do and how I can help people. And if I can find any shortcut, not that I say that you click on the button and you become rich, that's absolutely not, but if you have the shortcut, it's a good resource. If you have the good resource, if you have the good people, if you have the good information, the good software, the good program, whatever it is, well, it will definitely help you, because we can start a business on our own, but we need other people to grow the business. So if you have a business, if you just want to start a business, or if you have a business and if you want to grow a little faster, you don't get the result that you really expect, well, I invite you to click on the link that you will find around somewhere. Sometimes it's on the top, sometimes depending where you see the video, but you will find the link also to take a 30-minute strategy session with me. And then we will see where you are in your business, what you want to go, what's your challenges, what's your goals, and how I can help you to grow your business also. And also you will receive the link directly every week in order to don't miss any of the interview. So Orly, thank you very much. We will continue us on the program. So I will see you very soon.
Yes.
Even if it's virtually.
Yes.
And for everybody else, remember, if you need to grow your business, you need to network and you need to learn from others. So click on the link and implement what you learn. And that's definitely the way you will be able to grow your business faster. Thank you. See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.